Hi, welcome to Grech RV. This video is going to depict the new changes and updates and the new features on the Firefly system. This is going to affect 2025 models and newer. So first of all, what I want to point out on the main home screen here is your ottoman extension and retract features. So you have a driver's side ottoman and a passenger side ottoman, and then the up and down arrow or buttons for the sofa. Remember, these will only work one at a time, so you can extend or retract the ottomans by pushing and holding your fingers on the button. Once it gets to the full extension or the full retraction, let the button go, and then the ottoman or the sofa will stop in those positions. Your Lightmaster on and off control controls the interior lights only. The Lightmaster does not control any exterior lights in the van. Remember that. So if you turn an exterior light on in the van, you need to go to the lighting page, which we'll go to next, and I'll show you those features. So if you turn an exterior light on, you need to turn the exterior light off via the lighting page. The Lightmaster will not turn off exterior lights. Awning extend and retract. You got to hold your finger on the button for the awning to extend or to retract. If you let it go, it will stop in those positions. If your ignition is on and your vehicle's running, the extend button is in a lockout and it will not allow you to extend your awning when the vehicle is running. So if you need to extend your awning and the vehicle is running, you must turn the engine off, turn the ignition off, and then this extend feature will then operate. On the main home page is where you can see your fresh water, your gray water, and your black water holding tank levels there. Your water pump switch, and when it's on it is in blue, and when it is off it is in the green. Your tank heaters are thermostatically controlled on the heaters themselves, so just remember, if you have them in standby mode here with this blue lit up, then the tank heaters will automatically turn themselves on or off, depends on what the temperature is on the tank. This is showing your house battery voltage level here in this location. That is your main home page. We're going to go to the lighting control page, which is the lighting icon, second one down on the left hand side here. Remember, Lighting Master on and off only controls interior lights. So if you notice, I have a porch light, an awning light, compartment light, and outside step lights here. And if I turn off your main master switch there and I turn it back on, only the interior lights come on at that point. None of the exterior lights come on. If I turn on a porch light, which is an exterior light, and I turn off the master, the lighting on the outside of the vehicle, for example this porch light, is going to stay on. You have to turn it off manually. So remember, if you go to bed and you want to turn all your lights off, anything that's on the exterior is going to stay on. You have to manually turn that off. Any lighting on this page that has an arrow up and down, that is a dimmable feature. So you can dim the lights. So what you need to do at that point is just hold your finger on the button and the lights will dim down. And if you let it go, they will stay there. And then you can turn them off and turn them back on, and they'll stay at the level that you left it at. If you want to go back up and brighten them back up, go ahead and hold your finger on the button again. It'll dim all the way down and then go all the way back up to full brightness again. And then once you let it go, it'll stay at that adjustment. Remember, anything that has an arrow on it is dimmable. Anything that does not have an arrow is not dimmable. So if you hold your finger on there, it's not going to do anything. It'll just turn off when you let the button go. It will not dim up and down. Only arrow buttons up and down is dimmable on that page. The next page is our electrical settings page. This page has a lot of features on it that are new for 2025 and on the new updates. What you'll notice on this page, if you have an older system, that's going to have this inverter AC out information right here. If you have versions 3 on your Firefly system, it's not going to show that inverter out information. If you have version 4s up to 4.5, it's not going to show that inverter output information. Only on updated systems it's going to show that inverter information out there on 4.16 and newer. And I would suggest, if you have 4.16 or anything other than 4.22, which is the new version that we're reviewing here, that to give us a call and talk to us. We want to send you the new updates on the systems, and it will help you operate the system and have the system operate in certain locations where it actually is beneficial. So we definitely want to do an update for you. So let us know if you have an older versions. We want to get you updated. So let's get back to this. We are not plugged into shore power, so it is showing that we are in inverted right now. So that is giving us power from the inverter and supplying power from the batteries to the inverter, out of the inverter to the breaker box. At that point, it is supplying AC voltage out from the inverter, which gives you that information right here. And then everything in the system AC is going to be working. Your refrigerator is not on AC. Remember, your refrigerator solely is 12 volt only. So if you plug into shore power, you must have this battery switch on for the refrigerator to be working, because the refrigerator is working off of 12 volts. If you are plugged into shore power, this is going to switch and it will say power source shore here in this location. I'm going to plug this unit in, and then I will show you how that converts over and how we can select our shore power settings in this location. Okay, now since we are plugged into shore power, you can see power source 30 amp shore. And if I am plugged into anything other than the 30 amp shore, say for example you're using the adapter and you're plugging it into your home and you're plugged into a 15 amp outlet, you need to select this setting to 15 amp shore here. If you don't do that, it will pop the circuit breaker and you will lose power on your shore cord at your home. If you are plugged into a 20 or 30 amp, then you can select that to 20 or 30. That is going to automatically regulate the amount of power that is being consumed through the shore power, and make sure that it doesn't overload your breaker size or your outlet that you're using, and you won't have an issue there. So remember, if you're plugged into shore power, you need to select the power source that you're plugged into at the moment that you're plugging in. This will not come and give you an option to change on the screen until you plug it into shore power. Don't be alarmed if you plug it into your home and you plug it into a 15 amp outlet and you have to come over here and change this. You have some time to do that. So when you first plug it in, come back over here to the Firefly screen and change this source to 15 by pushing that button. And if you're plugged into your home. If you're plugged into a 50 amp service, which I have customers asking me, what if I'm plugged into 50? No problem. Use the 50 to 30 amp adapter and leave this on 30. There is no selection for 50 here. So leave it on 30 and use your 50 to 30 amp shore power adapter, okay? AC power in is only going to be showing on the screen right here when you are plugged into shore power. So if you are inverted like we were showing you before, it'll say inverted up here, and your information for power out is right here on the screen. It says inverter AC out. Right now we're plugged into shore power, so it's saying AC power right here. 118 volts is our voltage coming in. 11 amps coming in is what we're actually drawing through our shore power cord at the moment, and 60 hertz. The energy management system is solely controlled through what it is seeing on power source right here on the top left hand of the screen. If I select this to 15 amp, then remember that is not enough power to run your air conditioning unit in this system. You have to be on 20 or 30 on the power source right here for the air conditioner to work if you have your shore power cord plugged in. If you are on inverter, then you can run your air conditioner, and there is no selection on the top here to change when you're on inverted, when you're not plugged into shore power. So remember, if you're on inverter, your air conditioner will work. If you're on shore power and you're on 15 amp right here, your air conditioner is not going to start. It'll blow air, but it will not get cold. It will never turn the compressor on, okay? So just keep that in mind. Right now it has on shore, AC power coming in through the transfer switch, and the arrows are showing you coming across here to the circuit breaker box, and then it shows you power coming into the inverter. At this point, the inverter switched over to a battery charger and is charging the batteries. You can see the arrow coming from the inverter going up to the house batteries. You can see that in the system by pass through is a good indication that you are getting power in from your shore to the inverter. And then charger is showing bulk, and bulk is the first stage of the battery charging, and then it'll go to absorption, and then it'll go to float charge. So that's the 3 stages of battery charger on the inverter once you plugged into shore power. Remember, this will say no charge when you're not plugged in to shore power, because the charger on this screen is only the inverter charger. It is not the charger from your solar, and it is not the charger from your engine. That is 2 different other charging systems that are totally isolated from the inverter. So remember, you will show no charge in this section when you are not plugged into shore power. That is totally normal. You will only show charging bulk, absorption, or float in this section when you are plugged into shore power. If you do not want the inverter charger to be running at night when you are trying to sleep, and you don't want the charger working when you're plugged into shore power, you can push right here where it says bulk, and it will go to disabled. So if you notice on the screen now, that arrows from the inverter to the batteries went away, and I disabled the battery charger. So if you want to re-enable the charger in the morning after you get done sleeping, whatever the case is, you can just push this button again, and it will say no charge at first, and then it will switch, and it'll go over to bulk is the first stage, like I said before, and then absorption, and then float, depending on what the status of the battery charge is. And once the batteries get charged up, it'll be on float charge. If you are plugging into a power source at your house and you are using a 15 amp service, and you have the shore power set up to 15 right here, and you're still having issues with the charger drawing too much power and popping your circuit breaker in your home. For example, if you have something else plugged into the circuit on your house, say for example you're plugged into your garage and you have a refrigerator plugged into that same circuit, and the refrigerator kicks in or the freezer kicks in, whatever the case is, then it may overload your circuit breaker in your home and pop it because you have your battery charger on at the same time. What you can do is go to inverter charger right here, and you can go to Xantrix controls right here, and you can change the shore breaker size here, or you can change the max battery charge current right here. So you can change the shore breaker size down on this screen to 15 amps, which is going to limit the amount of battery charge current coming out of the batteries. If you're still having an issue, you can change your max battery charge current right here. If you're having an issue on your unit and you keep blowing your circuit breaker in your home, I would suggest to go to 50 amp here. It's going to limit the amount of charge going to the batteries, but what it does is it limits the amount of power that is being pulled through your shore power cord at the time. So once you change it, you must hit the save button here. So once you're done, push the save button, and it will save that into the system. And then what will happen over here, if you go back to the electrical page, your inlet amperage coming in is going to be limited because it is only charging your batteries at 50 amps instead of 150 amps. So you have a less chance of popping or blowing the circuit breaker in your home at that point. Once you're done and you're happy and everything's all working great, and you go to your campsite and you're back on 30 amp service, so we're going to change this back to 30 amp, you must come back over here to inverter charger, back to Xantrix controls, and change this shore breaker size back to 30, and change your max battery charge current back up to 150. it will charge your batteries much faster at these settings. And remember, push the save button once you're done, because if you don't, it will not save it in the system and change it. So now if we go back to this page, you'll notice that we will start pulling more power out of the system to charge our batteries. The amperage will start going up here, and the amperage going into the battery is going to be higher. This IC amps in the middle of the screen, this is indicating the amount of battery current that is either being charged to the batteries or being taken away from the batteries. So this is inverter charger amps. That's what that means. So right now we are actually plugged into shore power. We're on pass-through. We're on bulk battery charge, and I'm charging the batteries right now at 54 amps. If I was not plugged into shore power and this said inverted up here, this will say enabled, because the inverter will be on. The charger will say no charge, and the IC amps right here is going to be in a negative number because it'll be pulling power from the batteries, supplying power to this inverter, and then supplying power out to all your AC components, your microwave, your cooktop, and your air conditioner, all your outlets inside the van. All that will be supplied through the inverter from the batteries at that point when we're not plugged into shore power. So if it says inverted here, it's pulling power from the batteries. If you are on shore power and you have your charger on, it is supplying power to the batteries. So right now, if you can see it, it's 82 amps charging the batteries on this unit, and up to 150 amps. So the Firefly system is going to control the amount of battery charge depending on how much power I have coming into the system, and it will automatically regulate the amount of battery charge here on the system depending on what size shore breaker size and how much power it's pulling, and then it'll automatically, like I said, adjust the amount of battery charge in the system. If you can see it now, it's at 104 amps, so it's ramping up slowly because it notices that it still has enough power in the system, and because I'm on 30 amp, it's pulling 13 to 14 amps, and now it's at 109 amp draw. So it'll automatically regulate, like I said, by itself. So just keep in mind, if you're on 15 amp, 20 amp, or 30 amp, you must regulate what you're using in the system by changing the 15, 20, or 30 amp on the shore right here, depending on what you're plugged into. So if you notice, I just changed it to 15, and what'll happen is this battery charger will regulate right below or right at 15 amps, so it doesn't draw more than that, so it doesn't pop your circuit breaker, because it will not switch on its own. Remember, this will only switch 15, 20, or 30 if you switch it once you're plugged into shore power. We're going to go to the next screen. The next screen is your climate control screen. So climate control screen, I'm going to switch something right here real quick. If you notice on this screen, it's 21.9 degrees. That is in Celsius. So I'm going to show you in Fahrenheit. So I'm going to switch it back to Fahrenheit and then go back to the screen. Now we're showing 71 degrees Fahrenheit. So that being said, if you show Celsius here on the screen, it may show Fahrenheit on your opposite screen inside the system here in the unit. You can only change on one screen. If you change the Fahrenheit on this screen to Celsius, it's only going to change this screen. It does not change the other screen. So remember that. Back to the climate screen. 71 degrees is a set point for the interior temperature for your air conditioner. So if you set this at 71 degrees or even say 70 degrees, okay, we're going to just set it to 70. It'll regulate the interior temperature at 70 degrees. If you select the cool button, it'll automatically turn on your air conditioner In auto, if you select a low, a medium, and a high on the fan, it'll stay on those speeds. It will not automatically regulate the speed of the fan on the air conditioner. If you want to turn the system off, this is what the page needs to look like to turn the system off. Don't be alarmed if you turn and switch off the cool button and you leave it on auto right there and it's still blowing. It does have a timer shutdown in the system. It'll take somewhere up to 30 seconds to a minute sometimes to turn off the air conditioner. It is in a shutdown procedure at that point. Remember, this is how the system needs to look when you turn it off. There is no physical off button on the screen. So if you have it in auto and nothing else selected, that means eventually the system will shut down. If you want to turn the fans on low, push the button for low, the fan will come on low. If you turn it on medium and subsequent for high, it'll depict that the fan is going to be on H up here for high, and then M for medium, and L for low. You can probably hear that fan come on now. And then if you want the cool to come on, so if you want the air conditioner to come on, push the cool button. Remember, I have this set at 70 degrees. If the ambient temperature inside the van is colder than 70, the AC compressor is not going to come on. If it's hotter than 70 degrees inside the unit, then the air conditioning compressor will come on. This system also has a heat pump in it. We're talking about a Grech AC unit, not a Dometic air conditioning unit. Dometic air conditioning units do not have heat pumps in them. If you have a Dometic in your system should not show any heat function in there on the screen. If you do show a heat system icon in here and you have a Dometic, you have the wrong programming in your unit. Remember that. So Dometics do not have heat pump functions. Only Grech air conditioning systems have heat pump functions. So in cool mode, remember, select your temperature that you want in the cabin and it'll automatically regulate up and down, turn the air conditioning compressor on and off. If you would like heat in your system, then what will happen is this system will create heat through a heat pump function in the air conditioning unit. That heat pump function will only operate in temperatures above 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Remember, if there is not enough heat outside, the heat pump function is not going to work. If you're in 40 degrees or less, that heat pump function is more than likely not going to create any heat for you. You need to use your Timberline heater at that point and create heat inside your van. There's just not enough heat in the air to pump into your unit, basically. So the system will freeze up at that point if you try to use it, and you may get an alert on your screen that's showing that the system is frozen. Remember, 40 degrees and below, it's not going to work. There's not enough heat in the air to take out. Auto function here will automatically control the heater or the air conditioner. So right now, if you notice, I turned it on auto and it automatically switched to auto, and it says shed up here on the top because it is automatically going to control the temperature inside the van. So right now it is trying to, the blower came on and it is in shed mode, but eventually it will go to whatever it needs to. It'll go either to heat pump function or it will go to air conditioner. Right now we have it set at 70. Obviously it's a little warmer in here, so if you see the snowflake, it turned on the AC compressor. So it's going to turn on the AC compressor. It'll cool the unit down. Once the unit cools down, then that AC compressor snowflake will go away, and then it'll automatically control the fans at that point. Vent swing. This vent swing controls the vents on the exterior side of the air conditioning unit. So if you do not have this vent swing lit up, those vents will open all the way and they will stay open all the way whenever the unit's running. If you want the vents to open and close and swing basically up and down, you need to turn this on. Once you turn this on, then the vents on the air conditioning will start to go up and down on their own. The next thing I want to hit on is your front max air vent fan functions. So it's got the same functions as before. You can raise and lower the lid, you can turn the fan blower on and off, and low, medium, and high functions fan speeds. The new options that you have now is exhaust and intake. So what these do is they will reverse the fan so it'll exhaust when you first turn it on, and it is exhausting all the air out of the van. It'll suck it out. Or if you want it to reverse the other way and you want to take cool air from outside and suck it into the van, you can go to the intake function right here. So that is the new functions that is on the new update, exhaust and intake. Before you had none of those functions. It was blank on the bottom. All you had was just raise and lower, on or off, and low, medium, and high. So the new functions that we gave you is exhaust and intake to reverse those fans around to other directions. Okay, now we're on the shade page, which is the fourth icon down on the left hand side. It looks like a shade. So we are actually doing this video in a Turismo, and if you own a Strada or you have a Torino, you may see other functions on here for like mid shade. We don't have a mid shade on this unit, but just keep that in mind. You'll see mid shade on the screen here if you in fact have a Strada or a Torino, but they all function still the same way. So Shade Master, if you want all your shades to go down, just push and release the button and all the shades in the van will go down, and even including the slide entry door here. So remember, the slide entry door on the side of the van for the shade only functions if the door is closed. So if you have the door open, then that shade is not going to operate. So you must have this slide door closed for that shade to operate either up or down. Keep that in mind. So Shade Master up and down. If you want to stop the shades in mid-travel, anywhere when the shades are in movement, you can push the button again and it will stop them. Same goes for if you're using individual shades. So if we're going to put down the passenger side shade and I want to stop it mid-shade, you can just push the same button you pushed or even the opposite button. So push the button and it'll go back up, and if you want to stop it, push it again and it'll stop. If you want to continue and let it do its thing, it'll go all the way up to the mechanical stops that are adjusted in the shades in themselves. So that is pretty simple right there. They all function the same way, up and down. If you want to stop a mid shade, up and down, or even the power screen, either way, it doesn't matter. Just push the button again and it'll stop it. If you just push the button and release it, it will go to the full travel, either all the way down or all the way up on its own. So that is the shade page. Now we're going to the settings page. The settings page is where you can see your screen brightness. You can adjust the screen brightness, dim or bright. Remember, that's a manual adjustment right there. Auto dimming. Auto dimming is if you have this as it's depicted right now not lit up, this screen is going to stay lit 24/7 whenever there is power on the system. So for nighttime, I have had customers call and say, my screen doesn't turn off and it's bright. How do I turn it off? Turn it on auto dimming. Auto dimming is going to, after 30 seconds, this screen is going to dim out by itself because you're not using it. And then once you touch it again, it'll light back up and it'll stay on as long as you're using it. Another 30 seconds, if nobody's using it again and you're not touching it, it will auto dim out and go blank and black. So that's what you want to have on for auto dimming, so this screen is not lit up when you're trying to sleep at night. Or even during the day. It'll just consume more power if the screen is on all the time. So just leave this on auto dimming and it will function automatically for the dimming features. Cleaning mode, if you push the cleaning mode button right here, it's going to go blank. You can clean your screen, you can wipe it all down. It'll tell you how much longer it's going to be on this cleaning mode. It'll revert back to operation after it goes out of cleaning mode function. We're almost there, 1, 0, and we're back to operation again. So don't be alarmed if you push the cleaning mode, it'll automatically come back on again. We already touched on this a little bit earlier on the Fahrenheit settings. So temperature units, Fahrenheit or Celsius is your two selections here. Remember, if you select Celsius on one screen, it will not change the other screen. So if you have one screen that shows Celsius and one that shows Fahrenheit, you must change it on that particular screen, whatever you want it to say. Will not affect the other screen. So that is that. Okay, so next function is mobile app. So if you click on mobile app, this is showing a Mira mobile app. That's the one we are actually using. We are not using the Eclipse app. If you download the Eclipse app, which is in fact blue, it will not function in this van. So we give you a QR download right here. So scan this with your camera. It'll direct you right to the Mira mobile app, and you will get the correct application for use in this van. So this is the Mira ID right here. This is going to be a particular ID for your specific van. Your van number may be different, and I can guarantee you it'll be different than this number. But if you're on a campground and you see a bunch of Mira ID numbers, make sure that you operate the one that is particular for your van. Then you must have this Mira PIN number. Your PIN number is going to be different also. If somebody has reset this PIN number to the default, it's going to be 7s all the way across this screen. Once you put those 7s in your Mira app, it will ask you to reset your Mira PIN number. You must come up with a new PIN number. Once you put the PIN number in there, it'll ask you to confirm that PIN number. Once you confirm the PIN number, you should see it come up here on the screen, the number that you put in there. You can put whatever number you want in. So now I just pushed the reset to PIN to default. So like I said, it all 7s, and once I open this app up, it's going to ask me to reset the PIN, and you will have to put in your particular PIN number, whichever you decide to do, and it'll show up on the screen. So just keep that in mind. All right, next setting here on the settings page is you can set your hours and minutes, or you can select 24-hour or 12-hour clock. So it depends on what you like. If you like military time, select 24-hour. If you like regular standard time, then you can select just 12 hours by deselecting the 24-hour clock. This on the bottom of the page actually shows you the version numbers that we are operating on. This is the newest, latest, greatest version here, 4.22 on new systems. If you have an old system that does not have 422 in it, and you have a version 4, say for example 4.16, 4.17, whatever the case is, please contact us. We definitely want to get you the update for 422. If you have an older version than that, say you have 4.5 or you even have 3. Whatever the number is, please contact us. We can get you upgraded to 3.22 is the newest, latest, greatest update there. We want to get those updates done. It does affect operating certain items in the unit. Some functions on 422 will not work on older vans, but we definitely want to get you upgraded to 422 anyways, because we can take some of those functions out of the system and you won't see the things that don't work for you on those older vans. But 422 is the latest update, or 322 is the latest update. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to us at Grech RV or grechrv.com, and we appreciate you as a customer. Thank you and have a great day.